even down in Jamaica, I'm skipping, they tried in 1976 to organize a military coup to overthrow Michael Manley. In 1976, they supported attempts to assassinate Michael Manley on 3 different occasions. The little man who led Jamaica, who spoke at Savior's Day, was such a threat to our government that they attempted 3 times to assassinate the man in 1976. So later, they found a way to get rid of him through riots in the street over food.
So we are 14 days away from the Jamaica general election and things are heating up. And the thing with politics is always a bit tribal, and Jamaica is no different. It's like 35% of Jamaicans are PMP, 35 GLP, and I'm talking about die-hearted PMP, die-hearted JLP. No matter what the party is doing, right or wrong, that number, that percentage is going to stick with the party. And then I would say the other 30% would be what we'd call independent. So those people, like, they can be persuaded. So that is the history of Jamaica politics. And leading up to the election, now, the difference now is that we are on social media with our political differences now and the back and forth between JLP and PMP going back and forth online. And one other thing I don't like with this back and forth is that sometimes people are disingenuous, and when we are having a debate, sometimes, a lot of times, facts does not matter. They just want to make sure that they think that their party is the best, and anything to back their party, whether it's facts or not. And one of the things that I notice with a lot of JLP supporters is that JLP supporter even go back as far to put down Michael Manley. A lot of supporters will go way back to Michael Manley and say, look, Michael Manley destroyed Jamaica and the JLP came and fixed it. And that could not be further from the truth. So based on all of that, I said leading up to the election, let me just go back in history and give a bit of a history lesson, political history lesson about Jamaican politics, because Michael Manley did not destroy Jamaica for the Jamaica Labour Party to come and fix it. So one of the reasons why I decided to talk about Michael Manley today, and why, in my personal belief, I think that Michael Manley would have been the best prime minister in Jamaica's history. And Michael Manley did not get to do all of what Michael Manley wanted to do. But in my opinion, the things that he have done in Jamaica is things that Jamaicans are benefiting up until this day. And I'm going to break it down in the video and explain why I believe that Michael Manley, despite all the obstacles, that Michael Manley would have been the best prime minister in Jamaica. And saying all of that, I believe that the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, like winning a 3rd term, which if you're watching for a while now, you know that I believe that the Prime Minister is going to win a 3rd term. And this 3rd term, if Andrew Holness do all the right things that he should do, I think Andrew Holness could upstage what Michael Manley did, and Andrew Holness himself could become the best prime minister in Jamaica's history with a 3rd term if he does the right thing. And so let's talk about Michael Manley. So the reason why this Michael Manley conversation came up is because I've been talking about the reason why I personally believe that the People's National Party are not going to win the upcoming election. And one of the main reasons I pointed out is that because of the beating that they got the last election, and I described that beating as the worst in Jamaica political history, that the Jamaica Labour Party, 49 seats to the People's National Party, only 14 seats. So I've had a lot of people who claim to be historian and know the history of Jamaican politics come in and say, no, that is not the worst defeat, because they point back to 1983. 1983, the 1983 election where Edward Seaga won 60 seats to the People's National Party, Michael Manley, 0. Again, 60-0. But the information that that person failed to put in the caption is that, look, that year, 1983, Michael Manley boycotted the election. Michael Manley did not contest the election in 1983. So Mr. Edward Seaga, pretty much the JLP was uncontested. So that is not the same thing as contesting the election and getting beat down. So that is why I say, that is why I said the last election that the Jamaica Labour Party won was historic. We have never seen anything like that. So I'm going to break down why I believe that Michael Manley was the best Prime Minister Jamaica has ever seen. And number one, minimum wage. So Jamaica pretty much coming out of being a plantation, and in the late 1800s into the 1900s, we know about indentured laborers, which is not much different from being slaves. There were little or no protection for workers back in those days. So Michael Manley implementing a minimum wage was one of the first things to protect workers in Jamaica. Michael Manley, minimum wage. He also implemented the 40-hour work week, because before that, there was no rights for worker. So that is number one. Number two, within the same vein, sick leave. The Michael Manley administration was the one that implemented sick leave. Also, vacation time. Vacation time, it was there from the 1940s, I think 1947, but in 1973, the vacation, the 2 weeks vacation time that every Jamaican, once you're employed, you enjoy right now, that was implemented by Michael Manley. Also, maternity leave, Michael Manley, because there are still countries in the world, I think in America, like there are people that would women who would have a child and go back to work like within the next 2 to 3 weeks. But Michael Manley, back in the 70s, maternity leave. One of the big one too, NHT, National Housing Trust. Like, I've traveled around the world and I've never seen anything like what the National Housing Trust is in any other country. There might be something in some other country, but I've never heard of it, never seen it. The NHT was implemented by Michael Manley. And the final thing, Michael Manley did a lot, but the final thing that I want to highlight was free education. Michael Manley implemented free education up until university level before Michael Manley was pretty much taken down by the US government. And I'm going to go further into those details and my belief why I think Michael Manley was the best prime minister in the history of Jamaica. So history will show it, but when people are having political debate, they conveniently leave it out. And what history will tell you is that after Jamaica gained independence in 1962, Jamaica went through a rough patch after independence. But history will show that Jamaica was turning around, and Michael Manley was the prime minister that brought this whole socialist agenda to Jamaica. It was similar to what was taking place in Cuba, similar to what was going on in Grenada, and what was going on in Canada at the time. Socialism, where the government at the time believed that they have an obligation to pretty much take care of, holistically, to take care of its citizens. So free education, free healthcare, maternity leave, all of those good stuff, that was the socialist agenda back in the 70s. But the American government did not like the socialist agenda. And it is so interesting how when people talk about Michael Manley and what happened in Jamaica in the 70s, a lot of people conveniently leave out what the American government did. A lot of people conveniently leave out that Jamaica was under a sanction because of its socialist agenda. And in let me get the information. So 1983, when Michael Manley boycotted the election, Michael Manley did not just boycott the election because he wanted to. That was pressure from the American government. And for people who are up to date with international or Caribbean politics or Caribbean history, you will recall that the same year, October 19, 1983, that was 2 months before Michael Manley boycotted the election, that Maurice Bishop, the Prime Minister of Grenada, was taken out by the American government. And that seemed to be, from most accounts, that was one of the deciding factor why Michael Manley would have pushed Michael Manley to boycott the 1983 election. And it is documented. So I think it is disingenuous when people would come and say, yes, Michael Manley destroyed the country and the JLP under Mr. Seaga had to come and fix the country. That is not the full story. The American government was pressuring Michael Manley, as you saw in the beginning with Farrakhan talking about giving information as what was happening in that time with the CIA having presence in Jamaica at the time. Yes, so Mr. Seaga did step in after he won that election. But when you're telling the story, you have to tell the full story. Michael Manley did not destroy Jamaica. The Americans wanted Michael Manley out and they got what they wanted. And yes, Mr. Seaga did step in. Mr. Seaga did implement a lot of good programs, such as the free zone in the 3 Miles area. That was Mr. Seaga's work. Mr. Seaga did start the Hard Trust NTA. So there's a lot of good stuff that Mr. Seaga did at the time when he came into power. But Michael Manley did not destroy Jamaica. A lot of Michael Manley policies, free education, would have taken Jamaica to another level. And Michael Manley did not get to fulfill a lot of the things that he wanted to do because of what was happening at the time. And a lot of Jamaicans will remember right in that time, 1983 to 86, when thousands of Jamaicans flee the country because of the sanction that the American government placed on Jamaica. And even as a child growing up, I know a lot of young people would not remember, but as a child growing up, there was a time when food was so rationed that they had a thing where they would say you have to marry the food. So if you wanted some condensed milk, they would marry the condensed milk with some cornmeal or with some rice. So you could not go to the supermarket and get a condensed milk by itself. You would have to pair it with something else in order to get it. And that was because of the sanction placed on Jamaica by the American government because they wanted Michael Manley out. So that is just a little bit of history lesson for those who want to kind of shift history to suit their narrative. But Michael Manley did not destroy Jamaica. I think we can say Mr. Seaga did a good job without putting down what Michael Manley did, because every Jamaican, when you see the National Housing Trust, that was implemented by Michael Manley. When your wife or your daughter or whoever have access to maternity leave, when we have sick leave, holiday pay, all of those stuff, Michael Manley implemented those. So don't change history. We had a lot of our politicians have done a lot of bad, but we have to recognize that they have also done a lot of good. And Michael Manley did a lot of good. Okay, so people keep asking me, why do you keep saying that Mark Golding is not going to be the next Prime Minister of Jamaica? How do you know that? And people have been saying like, oh, like you're labor right, them pay you off and like all those good stuff. But I think that sometimes we as Jamaicans, we can get so partisan that even when our party is falling apart in front of us, we can't see it. And the People's National Party is broken, and that is just the reality. And it's going to take someone that is a real lover of the party and frustrated with what is going on to kind of come out and say that, look, the party is broken. And as I mentioned in previous videos, the party was doing the best we've seen the party in the past 20 years was under the leadership of P.J. Patterson. There was not a lot of infighting. There's nothing coming out, spilling out in the news about infighting. But as soon as P.J. Patterson stepped aside and Portia Simpson came, then everybody wanted, we start hearing like, oh, is she too dunce? She can't run the country. She's not educated enough. And this back and forth. And then now there's no Portia Simpson. Peter Phillips, the last election, got, as I said, a beat down. And we saw the result even coming after that with the Lisa Anna and Mark Golin. And we saw the split with the delegates, with the PMP delegates after the last election. So for people to just pretend that the PMP is okay and fine, that is disingenuous, because we know that there's no unity in the PMP party right now. No matter how they want to pretend like they're all good and everything is nice in the party, I believe until that is fixed, then they cannot win this election. And this is not new. We saw the same thing with the Jamaica Labour Party. So this is not partisan politics. Like, nobody paid me to say anything. I'm not a Labourite. This is the same thing that happened to the Jamaica Labour Party over 20 years ago, when the Jamaica Labour Party was pretty much broken because Mr. Edward Seaga could not beat P.J. Patterson, and Edward Seaga did not want to step aside. And we saw Bruce Golin frustrated and left the Jamaica Labour Party and formed the NDM. People have short-term memory. They don't remember all of those stuff. The Jamaica Labour Party, and that is why P.J. Patterson became the first prime minister in Jamaica to win 3 consecutive term election, because of the brokenness of the Jamaica Labour Party. And I stated, after Bruce Golin won and we saw the thing that went down in Tivoli and Bruce Golin had to step aside, the best thing that Bruce Golin could have ever done, or the best thing that the Jamaica Labour Party, was to make a young Andrew Holness lead the party. Because at the time we saw like the Obama, we saw Justin Trudeau, we saw the president of France, President Macron. There was a lot of young president and prime minister emerging on the world stage, and Andrew Holness was one of them. And the Jamaica Labour Party went through, like, I think this is going to be the best run that the Jamaica Labour Party have ever had under the leadership of Dr. Andrew Holness. So the truth is the truth. Like, the party is broken. As I said, this is not partisan. I'm not a Labourite. The Labourite, them never pay me off. We saw the Jamaica Labour Party went through the same thing with, as I said, with Edward Seaga. Edward Seaga could not beat P.J. Patterson. P.J. Patterson came in the first time and P.J. Patterson said, "Black man time now." A lot of people don't remember that. And since then, Mr. Edward Seaga could not beat P.J. Patterson. Now we see Dr. Andrew Holness, pretty much the same strategy. The Jamaica Labour Party is using the same strategy that the People's National Party used on them over 20 years ago. I saw at the campaign the other day, like, they keep saying like, Mark is not one of us. Mark Golin was born with a gold spoon in her mouth. Mark Golin never take tax yet. Mark Golin don't know what you're going through. That is the same strategy that P.J. Patterson used on Edward Seaga. And to make it worse, Edward Seaga was not a Jamaican. He was an American citizen. He was born in America. He is the first prime minister in the entire West Indies that was not born in the West Indies. He was not from a Commonwealth member nation, and he won the election. That was the first and the only time it ever happened, and I don't think it's going to happen again. So yes, the Jamaica Labour Party went through their stuff too, and now the People's National Party is going through their stuff. And if the PMP don't want to admit it, then it's up to them. Because, perfect example, Lisa Anna did not campaign. Lisa Anna could have campaigned for the person that's going to succeed her. She did not campaign. So if that is not a sign that there's some brokenness there between Lisa Anna, Mark Golin, and the delegates that supported her and the delegates that supported Mark Golin, then I think people are delusional if they think nothing is going on in the party. So guys, sound off in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.